Okay, so we're going to start focusing on faces. So what face style here would you say is correct? The answer is really all of them. So let me explain. I believe that your style evolves as you copy all of your favorite artists. If you like an artist's style and then you spend some time drawing in their style, you will naturally start drawing with some of their characteristics. So even though cognitive drawing is great for learning styles, aside from style, let's try to figure out what all these faces have in common so we can study the proportions of the face, okay? So if we overlay all of the faces on top of each other, what do you notice? Well, aside from them looking like a creepy face, the first thing that becomes clear is that we are dealing with an egg shape for the head. The eyes seem to generally line up in the center of the head, right here. If you divide the egg in two, divide the face into four sections, and you can see the eyes generally line up where the dotted lines intersect. So these lines here and this line. Eyeballs are right there. Notice how the outside of the nose generally lines up with the inside of the eyebrow line, right here. The eyebrow line and the outside of the nose. It generally lines up. Notice how the lips land somewhere between the bottom quarter. Right, somewhere in there, usually the lips are. You'll find all kinds of shapes by doing this. Now, I'm not the fan of making guides like this for all your drawings unless you want to make everyone look like a robot. But if you study the proportions until you memorize them, then one day you can break all these rules if you want. So there you go. I am a robot. Looks like a robot because we drew all these guides in. Memorize these guides. Really try to be able to do this from memory. And then you won't have to draw these guides anymore because you'll just kind of know where things kind of line up generally. All right, so now that we've kind of talked about the face and the structure, let's just try to make a real basic looking face right here. And we're going to just try to copy this image with all the things we just talked about. And so let's just start with those crosshairs. And let's see, we can just kind of drag these lines straight across if you want to just make it easier on you. And we'll just kind of draw on these lines. It might be a little wide. So let's draw on this kind of oval egg shape. Might be a little wide, but you know what? Everyone's face is a little different, and that's kind of the point of this, is to, get the basics of the proportions, but all these things are kind of universal. So now that we got our eyeball line, we can put in these like lighter, split it up into fours. Looks like this side is a little wider than the other side. Split up into fours and split up into fours again this way. And then remember, these here crosshairs are kind of where the eyes are going to line up. So you could kind of just rough in some eyes, some pupils. Draw on those basic eye shapes. And then remember, halfway in between these two lines is kind of where the eyes will touch, because you have a whole eye in between there, And then we can follow these lines down. Let's draw on this. Split that again. Now we kind of have our nose area where the nose holes would be. And just so you know, I never do this when I'm drawing a face for myself. I've kind of studied this stuff enough, and so I kind of have my own way of doing it. Split this up into fours again, and then I split it again, and this is kind of where our mouths are, our mouth shape is, the chin, right? You can just kind of copy all these things and just kind of see what kind of shapes you can find in here. Oops, I went way too wide on that. This is kind of the forehead ridge, kind of the eyebrows, so the eyebrows would rest kind of in here somewhere. Really generic looking stuff here. And then the ears. So I don't expect any of you to draw faces like this unless you're trying to draw a robot face. But at least you have kind of broken down and at least studied what some of these proportions of these faces kind of are. A lot of times, you know, when you're drawing a sketch of a face, you know, you kind of start with that little guide. You put those eyeballs in there, and then you just kind of eyeball. You kind of know where those shapes kind of line up. You know that the ears kind of line up with those eyebrow lines and kind of come down to about the nose. But this face, it looks like it's kind of tilted down. You know, so you know what I'm saying. So it's just all about kind of practicing this enough to where you at least know what looks right and what doesn't, and then when you're sketching these faces out, it's easy to just do them without drawing all these guidelines. So even if this is kind of super generic looking, it's good to practice it and try to memorize where a lot of these things line up. It will really help you be able to speed through those drawings later. Okay, so now let's draw the eyes from day 5. Now remember, this is our day 5 eyes. It was this here pair of eyes from day 5. So I'm going to try to draw that again, and I'm going to just see. Now it's been about 4 days since I've drawn those eyes, and my suggestion is try to do it from memory on these Sleep On It pages. What I would suggest is try to do it from memory and then look at the reference and correct it from the reference. Let's just try this. I'm going to try to do it from memory. Now, I remember these eyes they were really closed, and they had like practically no bottom line. I remember this needed to be a little wider. I remember this weird, interesting shape inside the iris with the reflection. I remember these lines were really thick. There's almost like you could define the bottom of the eye right there through the irises. I remember there's this weird, I don't remember exactly how it went, but and these were way wider than I thought. And then these eyebrows kind of came down and touched that part. Okay, that's what I remember. Let's compare. Yeah, it's close. I forgot about these really big shapes here. And I didn't quite follow through with that. It was pretty close. Yeah, that's the one thing I forgot about, is these kind of big shapes that came in here. Huh, surprisingly, it's pretty close, other than that part. I mean, there's a lot of things I retained from it, even though it's been probably about a week since I did it. This could have gone through a little further. So obviously these little things and these weird little details that kind of don't matter too much. So anyway, there we go. So we did our Sleep On It, our first Sleep On It. We actually have some more Sleep On It, so I forgot about these from the end of yesterday. So we'll try to do these too. So I'm going to just look at it really quick, the reference, just to see what I can remember. And I'm going to try it again from memory. It's like this shape is that top lip. Oh yeah, I got that pretty close. There's some real nice subtleties in this that I don't know if I have quite, but it's pretty close. Okay, so there's the mouth. Where's my nose that I picked? Okay, so we picked this nose. I'm gonna look at it just real quick, and then I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna just try to draw it again from memory. Okay, it seemed like this was kind of a wider thing. I remember these weird nose hole shapes that I kind of was excited about learning. This kind of came straight down and then angled out. But I know this was wider. I would probably want to erase it and widen it out just a little bit more. But for the sake of time on this video, I'm not going to. Oh, I forgot this little divot. It's pretty good. I'm pretty impressed with myself. Okay, moving on. So now that we've practiced these mouths and noses, the sleep on it pages, and the eyes, let's go and fill in this face. So we have our proportions down now. We know to split face in the middle. We know the eyes kind of rest in here. You know, we can divide this up again into fours, whatever it is we're trying to divide up. However, we're trying to do everything. And now we can just start working at our cognitive drawings studies and just try to apply those to this face, okay? I'm going to try to do the same eyes, nose, even though the nose is a little different because we have a wide bridge nose here and then a kind of a thin nose when we merge these together. It's kind of the best of all worlds, right? No, I don't know. Then we have that really deep. I think I made that nose again not quite pointy enough, so you can kind of blend the two together, the lip thing versus, because I did them two different ways. Look at this guy. He is a winner. This guy is a winner. What do you think? Is he a winner? It looks like his eyes are a little... I should have kind of increased the size of his face. So I'm thinking this is what his face should look like. I mean the size of his head. That's what I'm thinking. 3 mistakes I made. Face, details, too small. Inside, face structure. That's the main one. Anyway, there's all kinds of other mistakes I made. I'm really curious. Anyway, you get the idea. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to apply the cognitive drawings that we did to the face structure. I think that the thing I messed up on was the structure. I should have planned structure better, specifically for this exercise. Usually I draw the face first and then I do the outer details second, so maybe that's probably part of the reason why I kind of messed up on that. But I think the facial features actually look decent, and I'm kind of impressed with how all these different features on him work. If his head was smaller, then this would look pretty good, if the hair came down here, with the hair that comes down. There we go. Suddenly it's all fixed. Just joking. Okay, minus the ears being big. It's getting closer. So if I don't look at anything around here, that looks all right. It's funny seeing all the different facial features coming together like that. All right, that is what we got. Now it's your turn. All right, see you tomorrow for day 8.